last year in terms of handling adversity and going through kind of everything that happened last year. Are you able to take anything from last year and apply it to this year with terms of how you handle success?
Yeah, I think every experience you go through, you got to learn from it. And so we definitely took some things from last year. We actually did an exercise with our guys during their player development meetings for the ones that were returning from last year about, like, what did you learn? All that that had transpired, some good, some bad, but regardless, it was a great learning experience, I think, for a lot of people in a lot of different ways, whether it was physically, mentally, just learning the game a little bit more, getting different reps. So, yes, we took things from last year. I think we also did some things in the summer talking about embracing adversity and how do you do that and what are the tools that we can have in our tool bag to get through a long season, because no matter how good you are or how much you might not be playing well, everyone's going through some type of adversity and you have to be able to deal with it. It's going to happen during a season. Championship teams I've been on, you got to be equipped to handle it. And I think that our guys definitely did a lot this summer to add techniques and tools, and we're seeing it. No matter if it's in a game and a team goes on a run, I think that we were responding better to those runs. We're continuing to communicate, continuing to play to our identity and not really start to steer away and try to do things ourselves, which I think is a big improvement. And then even with some of these like game times changing, winter storm comes through and a game's supposed to be at 7, now it's at 3, and we had 5 back-to-backs last month, and no excuses, and just how are you going to try to embrace what's going on throughout the whole journey, and our group's doing it, and they're banding together in a major way.
Winning can sometimes mask things that would cause a coach or player's displeasure. What are some of the things that, aside from the winning and aside from just wanting to sustain this level of play, what are some things that are kind of on your radar in terms of, hey, we're winning, but I want to see this happen?
Yeah, even during wins, you can still be trying to improve. And so we see it defensively. We want to keep getting better transition defense. We want to keep getting better in the half court, some of our coverages at times. We're still not perfect. Can we steer a little bit better? Can we communicate when a guy's cutting through the paint? Or can we be communicating center field better so we can close the gap? I think a lot of our center field stuff, because we are in red a lot more when Moose is in the game, sometimes there's slippage in center field, so we'd love to see that be better. I do think defensive rebounding has been a pretty consistent thing for us, but we got to keep making progress there. And I think offensively, we've talked a ton about our ball movement, but we got to continue to get better with our screening, creating more advantages. You play a team like San Antonio, I think we felt it a little bit when they ramped up their physicality and their pressure. They became hard to screen. And whether that's our ball handlers having better setups or our bigs having better screens, we can keep improving in that regard. And lastly, just game management. As a young team, trying to finish quarters better, trying to win some of these close games and learning how you have to do it, and the flow of the game can change. It's also another point that I think we can keep getting better at.
I know you're not necessarily a big artificial motivation person, but Eastern Conference All-Star Reserves announced yesterday, none of your players involved. Does that kind of maybe enhance a chip that might be on your players' shoulders a bit?
We always have a chip. We are trying to build this thing up, and we got a lot of progress to make and a lot of things that we have to earn. And unfortunate that none of our guys were selected, but respect to everybody that made it. They definitely deserved it and earned it. And as we kind of keep building and making progress, in due time, we will have some all-stars because I think that we have a ton of talent on this team and a group that's really hungry to keep having individual success, but also team success.
Coach, good to see you. I do have a question about Brandon, but first I'm going to address the elephant in the room, the cartwheel. Is this something that you've done before? When's the last time? Do you have training? What did your daughters think? All of that good stuff.
Yeah, if you saw the cartwheel, you'd know that I do not do them. The technique and the form were bad. Somebody asked me if I was hurt afterwards. I told them no, but my ego is definitely hurt because my wife and kids made fun of me. But it was a spur of the moment. Excited for how our team played. I think that, again, we've just made a ton of progress over the last month or so, or even just we've made a ton of progress don't even need to put a timeline on it. And just was really proud of the way that we played and we competed. That was a really good team, and I think that we are a really good team, and we kind of showed it on a national stage and played a lot better than we did on the last game too that we had on TV. So just was happy with a lot of the things that had happened that game.
Thank you for humoring me. My second question is about Brandon. He did show up with the game ball after that game in the media session. Obviously, every single one of your players have grown this year, but when you see what he personally had to go through last year, physically, emotionally, all of that stuff to get to where he is now, what does it mean to you to see where he's playing right now?
Yeah, I'm just really happy for him because I do know how much he puts into his craft, how much he puts into the team, to the organization, to the city. And when you watch that post-game interview with him, you can feel a sense of like, wow, it's been a heck of a journey to get to this point. I think he said something about that was just two high-level teams playing and competing, and the physicality, and it just meant a lot to him. And so when I watched it, it almost, kind of brought tears to my eyes because it definitely was a sense of joy for him. And I've seen the maturity come. I've seen him taking more ownership of his career, taking more ownership of this team, and understanding how we need him to be a great two-way player. And you can kind of just feel it in that interview. So was really happy for Brandon and proud of the work that he continues to make. And even that moment, I can see like he wants more though. He's not happy. He's not complacent. He's still hungry.
You mentioned having to adjust with these games being changed tip-off times. As a coach, how has it affected, preparation? How are you guys able to get past the time change, if at all?
Yeah, we've had to adjust and be open-minded just like the players and, get on a couple more phone calls because we can't travel in the snow and the ice, and try to get here a little bit earlier before games and start talking about game plans and stuff. So our staff, from a performance standpoint, but also the coaching staff, they're great. They've adjusted. They're prepared for every situation. They've helped me a ton. They've helped our players a lot. So I think that we've been able to adjust with all the game time changes.
The 6-game winning streak you guys are on right now, with Melo, how has he helped during this process? How has he helped the team perform the way you want to on both sides of the floor, if at all, out there on the court?
Yeah, so many different ways, man. I'm so happy with how Melo's been playing as well. I would just start defensively. His ability to have the activity that he has right now has been great. I think that whether we're putting him on a secondary defender or a secondary ball handler or a primary ball handler, a screener, whatever the situation is, I feel like he's just been way more active, way more engaged, which is what we need. And not just engaged the first quarter, but the second quarter, the third quarter, he switches on to a guy coming in and helping rebound. You can feel it. And our guys, I think, are feeling it. It becomes contagious. And then offensively, I continue to see growth in just his overall, like, how can I impact winning? How can I manage the game a little bit better? Dallas. Well, actually, I guess if we go back to like that Indiana game, end the game, he tries to throw a lob to Musa. It becomes a turnover, and so on and so forth. And then Dallas game, very similar situation, I think, with like a minute and a half or a minute. We get a stop. Brandon gets a steal, goes to Melo, and he could have tried to throw another lob. And we were up, and he decided not to do it. And I think that just shows right there, like, the understanding of how do you win ball games and how do you have that maturity to be wild and free early, but in the fourth quarter, at the end of the game, you got to have better ball security. And then again, just like the shot selection, I think that he continues to improve because he's trusting his teammates to create some catch and shoot opportunities for him where he doesn't feel like he has to force a ton. You watch that play where he's got Wemby on him in an ISO, he could easily shoot any shot he wants in an ISO, but he drives them, he gets to the paint, he makes the right rim read to Josh Green to Brandon, it's a three. And so, like, when he's playing that way, the rest of the guys kind of follow suit.